Welcome back to the farm. Today's video is going to be about composting. Why you should have different systems. At least I recommend having two different systems for two different reasons. What's the benefit to composting? How does it affect you as a gardener? How does it affect you if you're wanting to save money? Those are the top three things I'm going to talk about in today's video. Now, I'm not going to show you how to build a compost pile. I already have a previous video that shows that. I'm not going to show you how to feed the worm bin. I already done that in the previous video. It may not be as great quality, but it's there. Now, let's talk about this first, which is my vermicomposting. Why vermicomposting is one of the best systems in my opinion. They have different types of systems. So first, before I go into detail, I will tell you, find a system that works for you, that works for the situation you're in. If you're in an apartment or you have a rent house that the landlord says, no, I don't want you composting, you can use this. This works perfectly great. That's what I love about it, because I find it very simple. I find it, you see how much room it takes up. Not very much. And I know other gardeners on YouTube that they have a little tote in their kitchen where they just dump their food waste in the kitchen, in that bin in the kitchen, and they're done. So this depends on how spouse or partner, how the situation is. But let's get into this. Why do I enjoy worm composting? Well, one, I can feed my food waste into here, and the fact that your typical household is not going to produce enough nitrogen source to heat up a compost pile significantly. This right here is a flip of that. You don't want this heating up too much, so you're going to add more carbon sources, because you have specialized earthworms who are cold-blooded by nature. They're going to come up here and work on the food waste, so they don't want to be in a hot bed. Second thing is, when they're done, you just harvest the worm castings, and you just need a cup per plant. You don't need a whole lot. Holds 100 times its weight in water, so it's a very good source for water management, especially if you're in an area that is prone to having water restrictions due to drought, or if you're more worried about where the water is going. This is a great way to reduce water runoff. It also will help recharge your local aquifers, so that is huge. And as an added bonus, this does have built-in pest control. If you have an aphid problem, go apply some worm castings around the plant. You're not going to find aphids the next morning. Another perk is I found, after applying my worm castings to my garden, I found the taste of the produce that I was getting out of the garden to be more enriched. So that's something to consider if you're low in space. Now, this is a lot more expensive to set up, because you have to buy the worms individually, you have to find the bin, you have to make the bedding, which I've shown that in another video. And lastly, I can actually use this as fertilizer, and I don't have to buy any fertilizer unless I want a specific type of fertilizer to act as a bioactivator for my compost output on the other side of that wall. That is why I lean to this system so much. It's very versatile. I can't do that with my overcompost. And another fact, since this is a natural occurring source that is broken down to a smaller state compared to actual compost, if I have a bucket Now, let's just say I have a bucket full and I'm running across the yard for whatever reason. I don't watch my step and I fall, and the swarm castings go all over the ground. I don't have to worry about it burning the plants. It's an organic substance. Nature's not going to allow it to be used until it's ready for that point, which means now all this food waste is getting broken down to its bare bones. Instead of all the fatty chain, polymers, or the amino acids, it's breaking it down back down. So I'm replenishing my soil by putting the atoms back into the soil. The more I put back in, the better my plants are going to be. The more water I conserve, the less water I have to have. Now, you still do that with the regular compost, because compost will eventually get to this point, but this takes a lot longer. Which leads me to the next part of the video: why you want two different systems if you can afford it, and if you have the space for it. And again, I've already alluded to the point a few, not even 20 seconds ago. This I'm using for my fertilizer, the compost, which I will show you here in this. And we're back to the soil, to the compost, excuse me. This I'm using as my mulch, because compost can be applied as a mulch. I also liken it to a topsoil replenisher, because eventually this will become the topsoil. So this is a way for me to make my own soil without having to go down buy dirt. And you can see what it starts out with. And you see how it's already starting to break down in this trash can. So it starts breaking down. The less you see of its resemblance to what you stuck in, the more it starts looking like actual soil or dirt, the better refined it is. Now, something like this would take at least a year. Now, you can speed it up by tweaking the recipe, adding extra stuff to the compost pile. But at the end of the day, it's all about how fast you want it. If you want it quickly, by all means. If you're not in a hurry, wait till you get ready into the fall. But that is why I run two different systems. It's for two different reasons. I have a system that I'm making my mulch and topsoil. I have another system that I'm getting my fertilizer off of. So again, if you can afford that, if you have the means to do so in the room, by all means run two different systems. But if you're not able to, or you don't have the time, run a system that you enjoy, that you find easy, that is easy for you. Doesn't matter what I tell you, what I think is best. Find what works for you. Anyway, this has been Tulsa Urban Farmer. Thanks for joining me, and I will have some more videos out soon where I go into more detail about applying the compost and the fertilizer, the aka worm castings. But, I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for joining. Feel free to like, sub, or comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.